Welcome to Worldwide In, podcast of Alpha Studio. Today we here have an episode on the Grabzone John, which is the Mountain in Logs ski resort. It's on 2,300 meters. The weather is great. And also what's great is we have a guest. It's Daniel Parames from Cooley Lawyers. Hi Daniel, how are you?
Hey Fabian, I'm doing well, thanks.
So, Cooley is the number one law firm worldwide for VC financing. You guys do 1,200 finances per year.
More or less, yeah.
More or less. You have tier number one VC plus startups, nationally recognized as band one in startups and emerging companies, Chamber USA 2023. What does that really mean?
Well, it's a recognition of the fact that we are heavily involved in representing mainly technology companies as our focus, and that we help them with all their legal needs, but in particular, our focus, at least in what I do, is to help them work with investors, raise money, and build their businesses with that money, and continue their growth trajectory to hopefully a successful exit. And so there's not that many law firms that are even at the scale or even do the amount of work in this area that we do. And so that ranking is in recognition of our involvement in this industry.
And you do this all around the world with your nearly 3,000 people, 1,300 plus lawyers. Tell me a little bit about where these offices are and why are they where they are, and where are the hottest spots to do VC and VC financing?
So the firm started in San Francisco, and we still have a large presence in the Bay Area with two major offices. We've expanded historically to include the major regions of the United States, and then our expansion led us into Asia and in Europe. Those are the main markets that we have a physical presence, but we also, as part of what we offer our clients too, is that we have great partnerships with law firms and other professionals all around the world. And so we pride ourselves on being able to, if we can't do something for one of our clients in a particular jurisdiction, we have good contacts, we have reputable people that can help them. And so we have this network effect as well.
Okay. And so there are also different departments, and you are in the departments that is called ECVC.
Yes.
So emerging companies and venture
Capital. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about a little about this. So where is your special area within this department?
That is the special area. Is ECVC. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So in my practice, and I'm a partner with many other partners in this group, and we all have little different practices, but they overlap in a lot of important ways. All of us tend to do a good amount of company side work and a good amount of investor side work. Mm-hmm. And that's important because to be really good at either, you have to know what kind of happens on the other side so you can anticipate issues and help drive outcomes that make both sides happy, because that's when the deal can actually happen, is when both sides can find a way forward. So that's what we do. There are maybe some of my partners that focus on companies in particular industries, or that focus on certain stages maybe, but we tend to generally be all involved in the whole spectrum of what technology companies are doing.
I was asking this question because ChatGPT was asking this question, and I know where ChatGPT found that, because on the website it says that you are specialized in agtech. What do you spell this?
Yes, agricultural technology. That's something that I personally find interesting, and so
especially wine agriculture.
Anything really. Okay. I have a particular. So that's from my bio on my website, and that's my opportunity to tell the world what I'm interested in. And so I'm glad you found that, because that is like a sector that is, I think, underappreciated. In terms of just the amount of innovation happening in humans. Civilization is based on agriculture, and we've been doing it for thousands of years, and we're still getting good at it. We're getting better at it, and it's still relevant, even though we've moved on to like space and other areas. It's still relevant.
But So the big chunk of your work is around software companies.
Yeah, I would say most software companies, some kind of service, yes.
So let us dive into the startup world. So let's change the perspective. So why should a startup, even in a pre-seed stage, an early stage, why does it make sense to make the flip to the United States, to Delaware flip, and try to get VC financing in Silicon Valley?
So the advantage, and it's not something that every company should do, right? It depends on what your goals are. And if your goals are, if you find it important to tap into the venture capital market that exists in the United States, in particular Silicon Valley, the advantage of flipping your company to Delaware, let's say, and having that as your legal structure is that you begin to look like all the other companies that those same VCs are looking at, and from a legal perspective. And so there's a level of comfort that you achieve in the eyes of the VC if you become a Delaware company as your structure. Again, not suitable for everybody, but it has that advantage, especially if there's a commitment by the team to be present in the United States, if they're going to also have some operations in the United States. But it's something that I think when VCs are looking at different companies and they're looking at things that they're more familiar with, I think that helps lead those conversations to a later stage.
So the context of why you and I are here in Logs on the Grabzone John is that we have our first batch started at StudioAlpha. We have like 6 startups in this batch. They're all here like in Logs, and we now have had several discussions. And what is the headline what they struggle the most?
Oh, yeah. I think they're all in this program because they want to bring their businesses to the United States, and they want to raise money in the United States. And I think what they're learning a lot from the various discussions that are happening during the last few days is that investors in the United States have a certain perspective, a certain way of thinking, a certain, culture, whatever you want to call it, it's foreign to them. And they're working on changing their narratives and focusing them to make sure that their message is heard as loud and as clear as possible by the VCs so that they can become a compelling opportunity for the VCs. And so I think just them learning about how venture capitalists in the United States think and what they're looking for and what kind of opportunities are of interest to them, that's where I think they're struggling the most in terms of but they're also achieving success because they're learning quickly too.
Yeah, and also for us at StudioAlpha, we underestimated the process of this due diligence. Because if a startup is not really get a sign off by you of this due diligence, they're literally not investor ready for the Silicon Valley.
Yeah, I think what we've been doing together is we've been asking them in this due diligence process, we've been asking them the same kinds of questions that like investors would ask them, or the investors' lawyers would be asking them. Mm-hmm. So we're taking that part of the process and we're moving it up front in their life cycle. And you're right, they've prioritized other parts of their business in the meantime. They've let some other things not be the priority on the legal side. And as a result, when you take a careful look at things, their status quo right now raises some doubts about what's happened in the past and what could happen in the future. And we're just pointing it out, making sure they address it so that it doesn't become a distraction when they're actually like in a real meaningful financing process.
Yes, so personally, in our company, when we went through this investor and when we sold the company, we had a mess in our legal documents, and it was very hard. We learned the hard way. It took us months to get everything in place and clean that up. So, and this is exactly what we try to help the startups in this process, so that they upfront learn that it's important that they get their illegal documents.
Not just documents, they have to think about, it's the strategy, it's the legal strategy, it's making sure that they have processes in place to like prove that they've secured all their IP. It's not just pieces of paper flying around, it's concepts too, that they have to understand and appreciate the importance of. And then from there, work with their teams, their advisors, to make sure that they're covering those bases so that, again, they don't become distractions or pitfalls or just things that actually like put a real deal in jeopardy for stupid reasons that could be avoided.
Yes.
Right? In all respects.
This is what we do.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.